Norwich, of course, we knew were down. They are joined by Bournemouth and Watford. After the results today, Aston Villa survived. They will be in the Premier League next season. Let's start off, shall we, with this decision to sack Nigel Pearson with 2 matches to go. Stevie, it looks even more of a head-scratcher now.
We all know what they were trying to do. They were trying to be clever and get a bounce. That's what they were trying. But I mean, Nigel took them from obscurity. I mean, there were what, 7 or 8 points adrift of every other team in the Premier League. So they were pretty much down when he came in. And yes, they went on a great run, but a guy with the pedigree that he's got of avoiding relegation, I mean, what he did with Leicester, you have to stick with it. And Watford have got, you know, as far as the squad is concerned, they're not the worst squad in the Premier League. There are other sides, I think, that have worse players. The problem that they've had all year is all the chopping and changing. And every time you bring another manager in, he's got a different idea about certain things. And so you're constantly getting upheaval in how you're playing and what managers are looking for. So when you make 4 and 5 changes, then no wonder you don't get any rhythm. And to do it with 2 games to go, I mean, it's just absolute madness. But then that's what Watford are. Nobody else runs a football club the way they do. Nobody does the things they do. They've gotten away with it for a long time, but, you know, it's caught up with them this year.
What surprised me overall, because normally there was a plan when they sacked a manager, Don, in the past. When you bring in Hayden Mullins, who's got no experience, that was kind of it, wasn't it? I thought maybe they'll just bring a big boy in or someone who could just rally the troops. But there was none of that. It was Hayden Mullins, and there was no reaction whatsoever.
Yeah, well, I don't think anyone would have really touched the football club for 2 games in the first place, Dan. So I think, you know, once the decision was made to sack Nigel Pearson, they had to really go with Hayden Mullins. Would Nigel Pearson got a result out of Man City and Arsenal? Probably not. But they wouldn't have probably been 3-0 down inside half an hour. Having said that, I mean, they got smashed against West Ham a couple of weeks ago when they were atrocious. So I think from what I'm hearing, and it's not gospel, there's been a few arguments between the Pozzos and Nigel Pearson, and I don't think he's lent himself to the board particularly well. So they've took the gamble, they've took the chance, and they've paid for it. But it is a model that is just really, really bizarre when you look at a club that sacks as many managers as Watford do, and 3 in 1 season. I mean, no wonder there's total confusion at that football club.
Meanwhile, Aston Villa stay up, Bournemouth down, Stevie. How much do you go back to the goal that should have been given against Villa in that match against Sheffield United on that return, which of course would have changed everything? If you're Bournemouth, how bitter are you looking back at that? Or as a professional, do you accept it?
No, 100% you accept it, and you know the reason why Aston Villa is staying up is not down to that one thing. It's down to a major thing, and it's something that I particularly have been going on about for I don't know how many years. That too many coaches and too many teams nowadays don't concentrate on the defensive side of the game. Now, Aston Villa, when the stop happened, had an absolute disastrous defensive, the numbers against them. I mean, they were just shocking, and that's why they were going to get relegated, and that's why they were in relegation trouble. But since the restart, defensively, they've been as good as anybody, and that's why they're staying up. So it's not down to one decision. It's down to what the coaching staff, well, they've got a hold of the players, told them what they want. They've obviously done the drills and training day after day after day till they were probably sick to death of it. But guess what? When you put that much work in and you take attention to the detail, guess what? You stay in the Premier League.
Don?
I agree. I was listening to Dean Smith on the radio in the car not long ago, and he was saying about the start of the season. And he said an awful lot of players come in, and he tried to get them ready for pre-season. But I think Douglas Luiz arrived days, I think, before their first game, and he couldn't quite get him up to speed. And he said they were fortunate. I mean, he said it in a nice way, Dean Smith, because he lost, I think it was his dad, I think, to COVID-19. So he's sort of saying he was very respectful. But he said the pandemic actually helped his group of players because he could then put them through another mini pre-season. And he said he worked them incredibly hard when they were in groups of 2s, groups of 4s, and then once they were allowed to train together, he said they went through a ridiculous amount of work. And they still come back obviously not great, because I think there's that bizarre stat that the first 18 games of restart, I don't think anyone in the bottom four won a game. But certainly in terms of momentum and dipping at the right time, I mean, they finished the season really strong. And a great story as well, that a local boy, a Villa fan, that Jack Grealish got the goal, which might be his last ever game in a Villa shirt.
Gentlemen, thank you very much. More from Don and Steve. They're joined by Ali for extra time, answering some of your tweets. You can check that out over on our YouTube channel. Well, thank you very much for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for live streaming, premium content, and let's not forget as well, ESPN FC 7 days a week. Subscribe to ESPN+.